It's our third week into this series that we've been going through, Declutter, decluttering our faith. Oftentimes our faith becomes like the junk drawer in the house, because everybody in the Midwest has a junk drawer. There's some places out in the coast that you don't have a junk drawer. You know, everything's in its spot and nothing extra. Us, we have one. And it is filled, and we're not even sure how things got in that junk drawer, and we're not even sure if they even fit there, whether they're useful or not. We just emptied out ours at our house, not because of this series, but it was just more of a, hey, what do we do? It's a mess. We can't even find the things that we want to find in the junk drawer. That's where you put the keys, and you can't find the keys. Our faith is the same. We have picked up things over the years that it's like, is that real faith, or is that just my tradition that I remember somehow? Or, somebody way back then told me about this. And we have to sometimes like clear away all the clutter and say, that's faith. That is what Jesus says, that we've called you to faith. That's what it is. And we've kind of broken it down into to bite-sized pieces of, this is your faith. This is what it means. Our first week we talked about knowing Christ. And if nothing else, Paul was saying, I want to know Christ, nothing else. In Him, our crucified Jesus. I want to know Him, not all this other fluffy stuff. And last week we talked about growing in our faith. How do we grow? We've been told that we are to grow in our faith. And this morning we get to talk about serving those we meet. Our faith, it leads us to serve those that we meet. Let me read a little bit about Jesus, how he brought people into what it really means to serve. So it's in your program, it'll be on the screen. It's from Mark chapter 10. I'm going to pick it up at verse 35. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came over and spoke to him, Jesus. Teacher, they said, I want you to do this favor. What is your request, he asked. They replied, when you sit on your glorious throne, we want to sit in places of honor next to you, one on your right, the other on your left. But Jesus said to them, you don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink from this bitter cup of suffering I'm about to drink? Are you able to be baptized with the baptism of suffering I will be baptized with? Oh, yes, they replied, we are able. Then Jesus told them, you will indeed drink from my bitter cup and be baptized with the baptism of suffering. But I have no right to say who will sit on my right or my left. God has prepared those places for the ones He has chosen. When the 10 other disciples heard what James and John had asked, they were indignant. So Jesus called them all together and said, you know that the leaders in this world lord it over their people. The officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you, it will be different. But among you, it will be different. Whoever wants to be the leader among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first, you must be the slave of everyone else. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and give His life as a ransom for many. Wouldn't you just love to be in that room when Jesus was talking? Jesus talking to these men who's got a different idea what it means to follow Jesus. And Jesus gets right to it and says, no. Guys, with you it has to be different. It's not about achieving power or position or possession. It's not about that. I want you to be servants. Servants. You're doing the menial things, overlooked by other people. I want you to be servants of people. Yes, servants. And you can imagine these men going, did he really say that? He wants us to serve people when we're the people in charge. We're Jesus guys. We get served. And if we were in the room, hopefully that realization would come back to us. Because we're sitting here today, Jesus is telling us, I need to be a servant. I need to serve people. And Jesus, that's really inconvenient. How could you ask me to be a servant? It's very demeaning to serve somebody. Why do we need to serve people, Jesus? And this is the part that I hope that we go home with. Jesus gets right to him and says, it's not about you anymore. Once you have a faith and you know Jesus and you're growing, it's not about you anymore. It's not about you. If we take it to the logical extreme, and our culture, this is America where you can do it on your own, and it's all about you. Don't let anybody get in the way. And if you take that to the logical extreme, you get back to like the 1900s, the early 1900s. I grew up in Chicago, and I had to read this book called The Jungle. And The Jungle chronicled the Chicago meat packing plants. There was 4 huge companies in Chicago, and they had the stockyards up there. All the cattle would come in, and these companies were about making profit. It was all about that. And all of the other things were just superfluous. And we don't even matter about the people. They would hire these immigrants who were looking for the American dream, but they'd pay them pennies of what they were worth. And they would put them in dangerous situations. They had machines, and nowadays we have OSHA that says, hey, that's a dangerous machine. People's limbs are getting chopped off here. They're coming home with loss of digits. That's finding its way into the food. This isn't good. But it didn't matter, because it was all about the profit. And all of this was normal. They would hire children. Little children, let's get the children in there. And they would have them grab the leather and pull it off of these animals. But these animals were soaked in acid to loosen up the leather, so their fingers were just deformed and all this. But it didn't matter, because it was only about the profit. It wasn't about other people. And we take this to the extreme when it's all about us, or when it's not about Jesus. We can come up, this was back in the early 1900s in Chicago, but we can go in the modern day when it's all about us. It goes the same route. We can talk about the financial crisis. How people are just out, I want to make some money. It doesn't matter about other people, they can't repay it, or that it hurts our economy. And that doesn't matter. I'm just out to make money. All through our years, when it comes to that extreme where people don't matter, where Jesus is out of the picture, when it's all about us, it's not good for our society. It's not good for us. The logical extreme is that the most vulnerable people will suffer when it's all about us. And Jesus takes his people aside and says, oh, wait a minute. But among you, it will be different. It's going to be different than the society around us. It's only about us, or maybe for our own little tribe. It's going to be different among you. I want you to serve people. Your life is about pleasing God. In whatever you do, it's about serving God. I want you to serve people. Look after their interests. And I have to go there right away, because sometimes we think we're good servants. We think that. Oh yeah, I held the door open for somebody the other day. I'm just a good servant. We think this. And sometimes we do some great things, but we're not naturally good servants. See, we don't necessarily have a serving problem. We have a control problem. We don't want to make it all about Jesus. We don't want to say, whatever I do, I am serving. We don't want to go there. We want to choose who we serve. Because some people, no, I ain't serving that person. I have got a problem with them. They're mean to me. I'm never serving them. We want to choose when we serve them because sometimes they're very inconvenient. It's me time right now. I'm not serving anybody right now. We want to control how we serve them. I will serve them this little way over here. And I'm not going to serve them where God has called me to serve them. It's totally unhealthy. That's not how we've been called to serve. And Jesus takes them back to school. He says, it's got to be different with you guys. Let me help you with this. You guys all had a sin problem. You have a sin problem, and I came to rescue you from that sin problem. You were property of the evil one. He had bought you and said, "Oh, this is a sinner. Sinners are with me." God said, No. Those are my people. We've got to figure this out. God sent Jesus so that he might be a ransom for many. For God's people. He was the ransom, though, so that, all these people get to go free, and Jesus pays the price. That was us. He goes to his disciples, Jesus goes to his disciples and says, I have paid the price for you. So it's not about you anymore. It's about me. I have given my life for a ransom for you, so you belong to God now. You're not your own anymore. You belong body and soul to God. And I want to get to our spiritual gifts and all those things, but we need to talk a little bit about, because we belong to God, we get to be a part of God's kingdom and his plan. We get to do this. I don't know if I said that loudly enough. Because we belong to God, every day we get to do this. We get to serve people. Whenever I get to, over the summer, I get to be on a soccer league. In every game, I get to say, we get to play soccer today. I don't know the last day the knees are going to go, and I won't be able to play anymore. I get to play today. Woo! Guys, we belong to God. We get to serve people. We get to be a part of his master plan to bring people back to him. We get to do this. He's invited us to be part of it. We had the last 2 weeks, the hottest Sundays of the year so far. We were out in its tent for our end of the summer celebration, and there was a beautiful breeze blowing through the tent. And we want to just thank Gail for that, because she prayed for a great breeze to come through. It was wonderful. We looked at it this way. We wanted a win. Like we described, what would be a win? A win would be if everybody gets involved. Everybody has a job. Everybody says, this is my church. I am part of this. And this wonderful situation came out. We had drama people, we had AV people, they were setting up and tearing down, and we had people greeting one another. We had people handing out bulletins. We had people saying, well, I'm not sure what I could bring. I'll bring a salad for the hot dog luncheon. Mike burned the hot dogs greatly, so I couldn't even taste them. It was wonderful. And we had ice cream people, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple other ones, but everybody was trying to grab this is my job. To say, I get to be part of this. And because we belong to our God, he invites us to be servants. To say, this is your role. Play a role in this effort to draw people back to me. Do you have a job? Do you have a role within God's great plan? He's invited us to this. But that brings it up like, I'm not sure what I can be a part of. I don't think I'm the most talented person. I don't think I can do all these things. I can't be like an AV genius like Terry. I don't know how to do these things. Let me help you with it. Because sometimes we just need to serve those we meet in however we can do it. I was in this church, I don't know how many years ago, but I was so taken by their sign that I took a picture of it. And I want to make it because it's so simple. This is how we serve those we meet. It's like a servant profile. This is how you do it. So give me that spreadsheet there. We're going to get to it here. Oh, that's beautiful. You're saying, well, there's blanks in there. That's right, because I want you to clue in on this. There's parts of this that are part of people being servants. This is what it looks like. One thing is, you need to know what your spiritual gifts are. And in spiritual gifts, we spend so much time on this to say, well, what am I good at? And what is a spiritual gift? And here's the big idea. It's how God has gifted you. What are the talents He's given you? You know, some people are like math geniuses. They drive me crazy. But they're just, it makes sense. They're just good at it. You know, that not everybody is. But they think this way. Numbers make sense to them. And that's just the way God gifted them and given them that talent. You know, there's other people that are mechanically minded. They can take a tin can and make it, you can like watch TV from Russia on it. They're just great with this stuff. They're mechanical. You know, there's other people, this is their talents. God has gifted them. It becomes a spiritual gift when you use that for God. You say, God has gifted me this way, given me this talent. I know what I need to do. This is what I do. And when you work within what comes natural, you feel so competent. God has gifted me this way. I just do this. This makes sense. But that's just one little part of it. You have to understand who you are, and this is how God has gifted you, but you understand your personal style. I could go on and on about the personalities here at Celebration. And everybody is, wow, their personality is just, as my daughter says, all your personality, it's just a little much, right? We all have great personalities, at least, and we think they are. And we all have a personality. You know, we have artists, right? And that's their personality. We have type A people, right? I'm more of a B+, right? And these type A people are like, oh, let's do this, let's drive, yeah. And they're just always going. And that's your personality. And God has gifted us in so many different ways. The logical, sequential people, right? And don't think outside that box too far. It's not logical. That's their personality. God has blessed you with a personality. And we need to embrace that. That's how we best serve people. We serve people within our personality that's natural. You know, you got greeted on the way in by Sandy. That is her personality. Like, woo! I see you over there. Awesome! Come on in. And I think she even sang to some people. You know, that's her personality. Other people would be like, hey, how you doing? Get in. Go on. All right. And that's not. They wouldn't thrive there. You know, it's important to understand how we've been the talents God has poured into us, and also understand our personality. There's one other part here. Right? One other part here, it's our ministry passion. You know, think of something that you're passionate about. Passionate about this. You know, for some people it's like, oh, I want to be a part of a ministry that feeds kids in a school because, you know, it works in my heart. I want to see them be fed, and it's like hand to hand, boom, right there. That ministry, you know, that's her passion. You know, sometimes it doesn't even have to be an existing ministry here that we're passionate about. It doesn't even have to be here. Some people are just passionate about encouraging other people, encouraging them. I'll just walk down the street, and that person, I feel like they need to smile today. So I'm going to help them. I'm going to encourage them during their day. And they're passionate about that. Whatever it is, we find things that we're passionate about. And in all of that, we say, I want to serve my God through this. Because I have been saved. Jesus redeemed me. I live for Him. I work within my talents. I work within my personality that He's given me and my passions. And to say, this is where I am motivated to serve others. It seems kind of simple, isn't it? Our gifts, our personality, our passions. And we just need to find, God, where do you have me going? And when these line up, that is where you find the joy of serving somebody. The joy of serving. Not I got to be a servant today. It's the joy of serving. When you are using your gifts, your talents, and your personality shines through, and you are passionate about it, there is such joy in serving somebody else. I'll give you a recent example, and many people know about this. When there were guys that said, we found out that Gail needs a lot of work on her garage. There didn't need to be twisting of arms to say, hey guys, come and help and fix this garage. That nobody had to have their arm twisted. Every one of them said, yeah, we can do that. That'd be great. And some people took leadership roles for it. And some people said, I'm not so confident in this, but I'll do whatever I need to do. And I want to work with this because I know it would serve her, it would benefit her, it would be awesome. And these guys, some people should never be on a roof, and we didn't let them up there. But there were some people that we said, awesome, you get to do this, do the siding or whatever it is. Every one of them was so filled with joy, working with other guys, helping out somebody in need. And it was a great time. Gail was saying, I wanted to bring them all out for lunch or dinner or something, have big steak dinners because it meant so much to me. And every one of them said, what are you kidding? This was fun. There was joy in serving. There's other examples that I could have used, but that was just the most recent one where all of them come into line. My talents and my personality and my passion come in line, and there is such joy of serving. There's joy. When's the last time you had joy because you were serving somebody? And, I don't know if we talk about that. I need to finish up with this last idea, though, because serving, it isn't always serving. I know that people that are linguists and English people are saying, what? That doesn't make sense. Let me help you out with that. Serving isn't always serving. There's this guy who comes up to Mother Teresa, and she asked him, why are you talking? He asked her, why do you always talk about Jesus? He's like, Jesus. Why do you always do that? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go work among the poor. And I'm going to do great work of charity. But I'm not going to, pollute it with all this Jesus baggage. And she said something like this. She says, you know what? Go and work 20 years among the poorest of the poor, maybe even a lifetime with the poorest of the poor. And then come back after your time and tell me how you did it. Tell me how you did it. All I know is that the only way I've been able to go through this, to do this, working with the poorest of the poor in India, is because of Jesus. When we serve people, really serve them. And even to the point of, I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. People that are helpless, that maybe don't want to help themselves. The only way we can get to this is if Jesus is at the center of it. If Jesus isn't at the center of your serving, you are going to burn out. It's just not going to survive. Jesus said this in Matthew 25. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers or sisters of mine, you did it unto me. Jesus says, all right, when you're serving, if you're not serving me, it's an empty service. Oh, you might do great things in this world. We have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They do some good things. But in the eternal situation here, if we're not serving Jesus at the center of it, if you're not, when you look at that other person, you don't see that you're serving Jesus, it's going to be empty. Serving without love is not serving. You know, we serve those that we meet by aligning our spiritual gifts, our talents, and then our personal style, our personalities, and with our passions. That's serving those that we meet. You know, serving those that we meet is sometimes as simple as seeing a need and then just trying to meet it. Saying, Jesus, I want to serve other people by meeting this need. Sometimes as simple as that. See, the big picture here, and I want you to run away with this one today. Serving others isn't what you do. It's what our God does through you. God He's just waiting for you to say, hey, I want to do this for you, God. I want to do this for you, God. And God's waiting for, yes, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless these people. I'm going to make great things happen. Things that you can't even imagine when it's done unto Jesus. You trust that Jesus will put you in situations that you will be able to serve Him first, and then also the people that you serve. You know, let me help you jump out of your comfort zone just a little bit. This Friday, there is the Muskegon Day of Caring. And some of you are saying, what? There is such a thing? Until this year, I didn't know that there was such a thing. I was thinking, wow. The United Way says we're going to have the Muskegon Day of Caring this Friday, and it's going to start at about 8:30 in the morning, go till 2. And if you're interested in being a part of that, I got a nice little clipboard here. We'll have it in the back. We'll give it to Ray in the back. But the whole idea of it is there's a lot of need. And for us, it's got to be about, God, I want to serve you in this. I want to serve you in this. And we're out of whatever situation you put me in, I want to serve those around me as well. But I'm doing this for you. And if you want to jump out of your comfort zone and say, I have no idea where they want to put me, do you trust God will put you in this place to serve other people for His glory? Do you trust that He will do that? You know, I'm hoping that we have just a whole bunch of people that will sign up, and some people wear the celebration shirts or like at hashtag CCIT, coolest church in town, whatever you wear, that we're seeing this as it's what our God will do through us. That's serving. There's not a book on the New York Times list that says 100 of the best servants ever. I've yet to see that book. But our God knows who they are. Every one of them. He says, whatever you've done to the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you've done it to me. You're serving me when you serve other people. Jesus said this, but among you it will be different. Among you it will be different. Whoever wants to be the leader must be the servant. Who wants to be first must be the slave of everyone else. Even the Son of Man, Jesus, came not to be served, but to serve others and give himself as a ransom for many. Oh, I pray that you find the joy of serving. Let me pray with you.